Hi guys, welcome to a brand new show on the Football Suite channel called After the Match. This show will involve us giving you our analysis on the chosen fixture and discussing all the important talking points. I am, of course, your host Leon, and with me today is the chat show regular Andrew and head of social media, of course.
Hi guys.
How you doing, Andrew?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. How are you doing?
Pretty good. It was a very interesting match, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Obviously, we always hype this one up. It's England's two biggest teams, you could say, just due to trophies. So, I mean,
definitely.
I mean, I was looking forward to it personally all week. I mean, I do love Liverpool, Man United. It's such two massiid cities in our country.
It's such a big game, isn't it? It's such a big game.
Yeah. The thing I love about... Oh, go on.
No, go ahead, mate, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, it is just the thing that people in Mumbai know how big this match is. It's such a massive game, and
definitely.
The fans are so passionate, and it is the definition of English football at its finest.
Oh, definitely. As you can tell, the match we are going to be discussing today is Manchester United's 3-0 victory over Liverpool. Goals scored by Wayne Rooney, Juan Mata and Van Persie. A couple of interesting talking points in this match about the Juan Mata goal, the offside, but I'm pretty sure not a lot of United fans will be looking back at that and talking too much. But it was a very interesting match. I think Liverpool looked like they were going to score when Sterling broke through, but I don't think they ever looked confident after that.
Yeah, I agree. Liverpool completely shook me up in the first 15 minutes because I thought Man United would be all over them. It'd just be Man United completely bombarding them, and it'd just be a matter of time when the goal. But I mean, Liverpool, you watch the first 20 seconds, they go for it. They're like, let's get into Man United's half, let's attack them. And of course, like you're saying, with Sterling's chance, that completely opened my eyes. I thought, oh my God, he's going to score here, but obviously with a good save by De Gea's leg. And
yeah,
I think,
definitely. And I think you got a big props to David De Gea for potentially the best performance of his career so far. And I also wanted to highlight a big thing about the defenders he's got. That's got to be a really tough job, because I think the defenders he had in front of him, well, I don't think you can call Carrick a defender personally. I think he can play that role, but he's not a defender. Yeah. But he that is a really tough role, considering Jones was very poor and Evans wasn't brilliant either. But he has to be potentially one of the best goalkeepers in the world at the moment.
Well, for me personally, I think we're very lucky in England. I think we have, out of probably 5 of the best keepers in the world, I think personally we've got 3 in Courtois, Lloris, and obviously David De Gea. Him today, it's spot on what you're saying. Look at Sterling's attack. The ball through completely destroys the Man United defence, and he's just stood there. He's like, right, what are you doing? And then he has to come and save them for it. And it's like his performance is... It's like, I think I saw it on Twitter, you were kind of retweeting some stuff saying the Man United defence in front of him is so poor, that he has to be that good, if you see what I mean.
Oh, definitely.
If he's off his game once, it's not like there's going to be a couple of shots at him. There's going to be quite a lot, at least 4 on target. So he has to be at the top of his game, and luckily for Man United, he is at the minute. Yeah,
definitely. But also, I don't think... I think, of course, he was tested by a couple of the attacking players from Liverpool, but I don't think Liverpool offered any attacking threat. There wasn't a goal scorer on that pitch that could cause trouble. I think he done really well to sort of hold off Sterling for as long as he did. But even that, this isn't the Sterling we saw last season. It's such a shock to see Liverpool drop so much. I know you could just say it was one player that's left, and we've talked about this before, but it seems like this is a whole new team. It doesn't feel like it's Liverpool.
Can I just ask as well, what was your thoughts when the team came in and you saw that you didn't have a recognised striker? Because obviously I remember Chelsea did the same a couple of seasons ago, so obviously as a fan who's done it, what did you think?
To be fair, I thought maybe this might be Raheem Sterling's chance to prove that he could put away a few goals, but I didn't think it was a good idea. You've always, especially the fact that Balotelli was fit, I think you have to play a striker if you have one. But I think when Chelsea done it previously, we did have Schürrle up front, who I think he can play striker. But I don't think Raheem Sterling can play that. I don't think he's got enough strength to hold off defenders, and I think he's proved today that he has, even in an open net, he couldn't finish.
Yeah, I completely agree with that point, because it's like what you're saying with Sterling. Like, if he scores one of those goals today, let's just say, for example, he scores the first one, all of us are like, oh, wow, because that would have been obviously quite a good finish, and it would have been like, Brendan Rodgers is this genius for not playing a striker and going quite defensive against Man United because he's gone on and scored.
But that's the thing, like, you could say, I don't even think Liverpool particularly played defensively. It seemed like they tried to play attacking football, but they didn't have the end product. And also, United had such a good attack that I don't think the Liverpool defence could cope with it. And we've seen how much Liverpool's defence has been a problem this year. Maybe it would have been best if Liverpool went at 5 at the back instead of 3.
Oh, yeah, I'm not saying that Liverpool did go defensive. I'm just saying that had they gone ahead, I think a lot of people the census would have been, oh, right, they're ahead, so they will probably go quite defensive. Yeah. I think there was a good point brought up. I think it was like, I think I saw it on Twitter or something. It was the idea that the best idea for these two teams would have been just to attack each other. The whole Newcastle mid-90s score more than they do type of modelling. That you could say it kind of was like that. That's why it was so open and end-to-end at times. Because it was like, so for example, Rooney would get the ball and go, right, let's run it their attack, because they'll do it. And then Sterling was doing the same. So I think it was an interesting one if you were, let's say, like if you just watched Liverpool and Man United from the Fergie days and stuff like that, like to look at Man United's defence, you must be thinking, what's going on? Where did this come from?
Yeah, and also you still see the back three, and it still doesn't really work in the Premiership, does it? And, you know, like, especially, you don't have a world-class centre-back in that United team at the moment, and, you know, on the other day, Sterling scores, it's a different match. And after the 1-0, you know, we could see Liverpool attacking a bit more, but the second goal, as controversial as it was, I think it killed off the match. I really feel like Liverpool didn't have a chance after that.
I just think Lovren was quite poor today. Like, I've not been his biggest fan. I was a fan of him at Southampton, but this season, I mean, the third goal and definitely the second one with Mata, like, it's just, there's such a gap. Like Skirtle as well. Skirtle just completely leaves Van Persie for him to then get the room to flick it on. And then Mata, regardless if he's onside or not, he has so much room to score that goal. Yeah. And it's like,
but even on the first goal, like Coutinho, he just leaves Wayne Rooney to do what he wants, and you know, it's a simple but brilliant finish from Rooney, and you know, it's a goal that could be easily avoided if he just does his job. And you know, with the second goal, I think you could say it was blatantly offside, but then I suppose at the speed it's going, you don't know if Van Persie's got a touch to it. But it's an interesting talking point.
Oh yeah, definitely. I was just going to say, well, what do you think on Brad Jones, the goalkeeper, Liverpool goal, for the first goal? You know, because he anticipates Rooney's shot, and as a result of that, it goes straight in. What do you think?
I don't think you can blame the keeper for it. I think he obviously he's in that situation. You've got to make a decision. I think he made the decision. Unfortunately, he didn't get it. But I don't think you can blame the keeper at all. But I feel actually quite unfair for him, because you know, he's been called in to play this match. You know, that it's either going to go really good or really bad, and today it went really bad for him. You know, when you have Simon Mignolet in the team, as much as he might be out of form, you know, you have to play your best keeper in a match like this. And, you know, this could have been the match that Mignolet really showed what he was about. But it seems like Rodgers is really struggling at the moment. He needs to try and find the best players possible. And I don't think he knows his best 11.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I agree. It's like the point we brought up last week, isn't it? He's bought like a good bench and stuff like that. So he's got to pick the perfect time when to play them, especially with, it's an interesting one, like I say, is the beauty of hindsight with Mignolet and Jones, because we could say, oh, if he plays Mignolet plays amazing, he's back on it. But if he has another bad match, we're all thinking, oh, he's cost the match. You see what I mean? So it's like, it's like you say, that's what the managers get paid for, isn't it, to make these decisions?
Yeah, definitely.
And unfortunately, I think he made the right decision putting Jones in, because I think Mignolet had everything today happen to Mignolet. I think it's more of a talking point, if you see what I mean. Yeah,
definitely. And maybe, I think personally, he's struggling. He's struggling at the moment, Rodgers, and I think he's just trying to do everything he can to try and get that win. And you know, I think his team particularly let him down today. I think Sterling's let him down quite a bit. You know, Sterling had a good few chances, and you know, if Sterling does his job, as much as he may not be a striker, he does his job, then it's a different match, and I can't particularly say there was one Liverpool player that I thought played well. I thought it seems like they're keeping Gerrard in because he's Gerrard.
Oh, definitely.
Joe Allen, I don't see what he does other than pass the ball 5 yards. 5 yards a time. Lallana, I don't think he's looked very good since the move. Moreno, I think he couldn't keep up with Valencia, and I felt like he was trying to attack too much because he didn't have anything else to do. But it was a difficult match to watch if you're a Liverpool fan.
Yeah, can I think, what was your general thought then on how Gerrard's performance was?
Sorry, say that again, mate.
Sorry, mate. I mean, what was your overall thought on Gerrard's performance?
He was. I just think if I can give a rating sort of like 1 to 5, I think I'd probably give a 2. He wasn't great. He wasn't. I don't think he was awful, but I don't think he was. He benefited at anything. I definitely think that if they had put someone else in, they could have brought something else. He seemed to keep getting dragged out of position. He seemed to look like, and also every time he was on the ball, the crowd were giving it to him. It seems like ever since the sort of Chelsea match, the Crystal Palace match, he just can't handle it anymore, and he just looks like a broken man. And every time I see him on the ball today, he just didn't look like the Gerrard from previous. And obviously, he's aging and stuff like that, but maybe he should have cooled it down last year. He really hasn't had a good time in the last few months.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you. Definitely on the playing Gerrard because it's Gerrard.
Yeah.
And with the Basel match, I saw that mostly. I mean, did you see? It was like they were trying to create the Olympiacos moment so much that it was wasting opportunity. But going back to the match today, I agree with you. The fact that Gerrard playing, I saw a good point. I think it might have been Jason Cundy on Twitter. He said, I think the best thing for Gerrard would be one match, probably miss every other match, but play him actually more forward, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, because Gerrard's never been a defensive player, and they seem to be, he's losing his place, let's put him back a bit. No, you don't do that. You put him... Yeah. You put him attacking player. You put him as an attacking player, but you don't play him as much. You bring him off or bring him on. I'm sure Gerrard, as a Liverpool supporter and a Liverpool legend, would prefer to see the club doing well and him only playing a few games here and there. But I think what Rodgers is trying to do is trying to keep a bit of, I'm supporting you, I keep playing you, maybe, but it's really not working. And especially we could see after the Raheem Sterling chance, and United score straight after it. The momentum's just fully in United's favour, and Liverpool just don't have what it takes to sort of like stop that attack.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think when, like we say, we saw it today, like what you were mentioning before, it's that midfield of Liverpool. Because when Man United did come on the counter, it did seem like they were a bit overwhelmed with it. Yeah. So it was like as Valencia and Young bombed forward for the counter. As you're saying, I think I can't pronounce it. The Moreno, sorry. Yeah, that's right. On the wing. As soon as he faced it, like you say, in the first goal, Valencia, he just goes straight past him and Allen, and then he's through. Like he's in the box, and he's going to create a chance if he's in that position. So I think Liverpool's midfield and defence just needed a bit more. I think it actually, this is going to be a weird point, but needed a leader. So
100%.
Gerrard to turn around to them and shut, because I think he did actually. Like for me personally, he really, that game passed him by. I don't know if you agree.
No, definitely. It seemed like he was the passenger. I was just about to bring the same point up to you. As much as Gerrard is a leader, the team love him, the fans love him. He needs to be that player who's shouting at players. He needs to be that one who's telling people what to do. And today, it just seemed like it was a mess. It seemed like it was falling apart. And I think the only thing Gerrard can think is we need Suarez back. And I don't think Sturridge becoming fit and coming back changes anything. I really don't, because I think with Sturridge, he last season he was always assisted by Suarez, or he was assisting Suarez. He's got no backup. What do they expect Sturridge to do? Do they expect him to come back and score like 2-3 goals every match? Because that's what they need at the moment. They need they need a good defence and they need a goal scorer. And at the moment, they haven't got both. And that may be the only reason why Brendan Rodgers is kept in a job, because maybe they think when Sturridge comes back, we'll judge him then. But at the moment, this man's losing the fight.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, it's like you say, he does not help himself by last season saying if you spend 100 million, i.e. Tottenham, you should be winning the league. I mean, why would you say that, like slagging off another team? Because it's just karma for it to come back at you.
Oh, it really is. It really is. But also on the Man United side, it's a 6th straight win in the league, and a big match. It's the United Liverpool derby, potentially the biggest match there is in the Premier League, and they done the job that was needed. As much as it may not have been amazing, I personally think their attack was good, but I don't think much else was, other than De Gea, obviously man of the match in my opinion. But they attacked very well and they done the job, which is what they need at the moment, especially around the Christmas time, because we all know it's a time when teams seem to flop and lose a lot of points.
I mean, what was the staple of Alex Ferguson's teams? They win 1-0 and it doesn't matter how good or bad it is.
No, definitely.
You leave the match with 3 points. That's what I mean.
Exactly. You need to, and that's why I think, as much as I don't want to go into the topic where we're talking about United, Liverpool, that's the problem Arsenal having. You need to learn to win ugly, and United, I don't think they won ugly today. I think they got the job done, but continuing to win like this and bring that momentum, they're going to go into matches, and I think with Falcao back now, as much as he'll probably get injured in the next couple of matches, because I don't think he's suited to the Premier League, especially the fact that he how can I put it, every other match he seems to be injured. But we'll see, and soon comes. But we look at United and I can't see anything stopping their form at the moment. They're not losing the players to injuries as they was earlier. Herrera's coming back. They've got Fletcher, Carrick, Van Persie, Juan Mata, and it seems to be going well for them at the moment.
Can I just bring up a point I've just realised as well? Di Maria didn't play today. But that's a big player as well. Yeah, I just completely forgot about that. Like, he did. That's amazing to think that he's still got to come back. I also wanted to bring one as a Chelsea fan. I wanted to ask you: are Man United title contenders now?
Yes, they are, and the reason I'd say yes is because a lot of players were out and a lot of players are coming back now. Like you said, I totally forgot about Di Maria as well, and when he comes back in, it could be a godsend, or it could be quite a problem, because someone's got to get taken out for Di Maria to get put back in, and I can't see who would get taken out today because they played so well. So who do you think would replace? Who do you think Di Maria would replace in the squad?
The only thing I could imagine him doing is because I'm not sure. I could imagine Van Gaal's quite loyal to his players, if you see what I mean. So he'll say, "You wouldn't be this match against Liverpool, so I'm going to stick with you." But I think if he wanted to bring Di Maria back into the team, I could picture him going back to 4 at the back, and I think it's 4 at the back in a diamond, with 2 up front, and it'll be Di Maria on the left. I could imagine that's like what he tried to play with at the start. So I think that's where I could picture him played, or maybe on the right or something like that. I think with Di Maria, I mean, you've got to play him, though, haven't you? I mean, you don't spend that much money on a player and don't play him, and especially of someone of Di Maria's caliber. He's such a good player. But who do you think United need in the winter window? Right, I may sound silly for saying this, and you can cut me off if I say it. But honestly, the report's got Vidic. Do you not think? So, have you not heard any reports?
Yeah,
possibly? I did. Yeah, it may sound weird, put me in a straitjacket, but I think that is actually made for someone who's been to the club, won trophies, just to come in and say, right, for at least 6 months even, just to get them, just to see how good they do. To say, like, definitely. I'm going to get this defence, I'm going to sort, like, just as well to teach these young kids like McNair and people like how to defend. Yeah. And just because I think that will shore up the team. What do you think?
I personally don't think he should have left in the first place. He was the captain. I think they needed him, and maybe he thought that David Moyes was going to be there another season. Maybe he didn't want that, but I personally think that he could have done such a lot of good if he stayed on, because he was such an important player. You don't lose your captain, and then you lose your vice captain. In Patrice Evra. I think if both of them players are in that United team, it's all their problems sorted, really, because you've got that leader who'll shout. And maybe Vidic with his injuries couldn't help, but Luke Shaw's not starting at the moment, so Evra would have fitted in quite well.
Would let's say like Evra did stay, would Van Gaal have even tried 3 at the back, or do you think he would have just stuck with 4?
I don't think he would have tried 3 at the back. I think the only reason he's trying 3 at the back because I don't think he wants to put too many inexperienced players at too much pressure, because centre backs are obviously at a lot of pressure as well, midfielders are a lot, but the wingers are where the balls come in, and if that player isn't tracking back or doing his job, he's just going to get outed and stuff like that, and it's not very nice for the players to feel as well. But Van Gaal obviously is interested in youth, but there's no point exposing too many people to youth if you can. So maybe his idea of putting 3 at the back and then using both of the wingers and in Young and Valencia to sort of like track back and do a bit of defensive work. It seems to be working for him, so maybe that's what he's trying to do.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, you mentioned youth, and it just reminded me. What was your thoughts on James Wilson's performance?
To be fair, I don't think you would have really knew he was on the pitch.
Yeah,
I felt like the big talk about him was his pace, and I didn't think that he used it enough. I'm obviously not expecting him to come in and score a hat-trick, but maybe pulling a few defenders out of place and stuff like that would have helped a bit more. But then, it's a big match for a player to come in like that and expect him to do sort of like wonders. I think if Falcao's fit, why not start Falcao and then bring on Wilson when the game's won? It's probably going to give him a lot more sort of morale and stuff like that. But it was a good. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't amazing.
Yeah, it's like, I know exactly what you mean. Like, I think what he could have done is, like you say, with his pace, if he'd like beaten early on Glenn Johnson to the ball and stuff like got the Man United fans up, it could have like possibly got his confidence up and stuff like that. But I agree completely with what you're saying. He may not played amazing, but you got to let this one off for a young kid like him, because we've seen how good he actually can be. So you can't be judging him on one individual match. He's going to be, I think it was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said, he's going to be a great striker in years to come. He didn't say like in a few weeks.
Yeah. What's your opinion on Ashley Young? He seems to have, from someone who was basically invisible at the club last year, has come back, and he seems to be in the team a lot more.
Well, yeah, with his last few years under Fergie, we all called him a diver and a cheat and everything like that. And then he did it a little bit with David Moyes, but I mean, it looks like it's completely out of his game. I think Van Gaal is actually the perfect manager for him. Yeah. Because he's just one of those, that doesn't happen here. You do your job and you get forward and get back, and you are going to be a proper footballer. And he's like, and they're both bought into it together, if you see what I mean. They're both like, yeah, let's go for it. I think Ashley Young looks like a new player. I was actually really surprised with him, because you wouldn't think of him as like in the 5 in midfield who's going to go up and down the field to chase back. He's normally at like Villa and everything. He was kind of like a left mid who just went forward. He occasionally came back, but he never had
that player who sits on the sideline and crosses the ball in from deep.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it seems to definitely turning into a squad player and helping out. A lot of what Carrick's doing at the moment, that midfielder helping out in defence, and Van Gaal seems to be sort of, at the start of the season, we was all talking about Van Gaal. Can he sort of do this? Is it the team? Was it not Moyes? But, Van Gaal seems to have settled. He seems to have know who his best players are. And, as we said, the run's going on now.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I think the problem with Van Gaal is because he had the World Cup and stuff like that, and he kind of came out and did the whole judging after 3 months kind of thing and stuff. So we were always waiting for them 3 months. But, now he's just... 6 wins in a row is decent in the Premier League, isn't it? Regardless of who you're against and stuff like that. So, whoever does that, you've got to give credit to. And, like I said before, it's the winning ugly, which is actually a really good thing in the English Premier League, because it proves that what's ever happening, you just go in, get the 3 points and leave. Especially, we saw that perfectly at Southampton. think how many teams have struggled there this season. Man United just went in, got the points, didn't play amazingly, but who cares? You get the 3 points in the end.
No, definitely. This win actually takes United to third in the league. Who's your opinion on who will come fourth?
Well, I mean, I've got obviously swayed opinions being an Arsenal fan, so I'm going to say Arsenal because Arsenal know how to do it. I mean, in the past 4 seasons, 3 of them I've said in March, that's it. Arsenal are going to finish 5th. It's over. The 4th place dream's finished, and yet they still do it.
Yeah,
like it just happens. I don't know what it is. I wish it was a mentality for the league, because then it'd be fantastic. But there is just a mentality for 4th. Who do you think's going to finish 4th?
I think Man United will finish 4th. I think Arsenal may get 3rd. I feel like when they get their full team back, I think it's definitely going to be a fight between Man United and Arsenal. But then, if West Ham continue to play well, that might come back and haunt them. So I guess we'll see. Another big talking point today, obviously the linesman not doing his job, but we hear that a lot in Premier League matches at the moment.
Yeah, I think me and you personally are not biggest fans of this season's refereeing performances, are we? That's fair to say. But I let this linesman off today, because I think I can completely understand why he hasn't given it, because there's the pace of it, for a start. Van Persie, it is a tiny touch, and also I've noticed it actually hits off Skirtle as well. Once it's hit Van Persie, it hits off Skirtle and then goes into Juan Mata's direction, which then lets him header it in. So I think possibly, I let him off. I'd like to hear what you have to say on it, though.
I think if you're looking at... I do not like English referees. I've said it on the show before and that, but I feel like, you've got to sort of like give him a break on that one, because it was such a difficult decision. It was... you look at the speed of the match as well, and, to get that right it's a really difficult decision. So and I don't think Liverpool fans will be too sort of hurt about that. Maybe
some will.
Maybe they will, but maybe they will. But I think like a lot of them realise that if they finish their chances, that isn't a worry anyway. But yeah, maybe some of them might feel a bit different about that. And as a neutral, we were looking at it with no emotional attachment. But you could see, and even the players, some of them looked like they didn't want to be out there.
Oh yeah, definitely. I agree with that last point, especially. I think as soon as the first goal went, I mean, I need to talk about that. Was it the third or no? It would have been the third goal when Lovren just completely swings at it and just falls over in his own box, and it just comes out to. It's like Lovren's fine. Like, it's fair enough, he makes some mistakes. It's when you actually think they paid 20 million for him.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
That is when it's like that hard cold fact of 20 million for Lovren, and you're like, what? Really?
Exactly. It's ridiculous, and and also Lallana, he didn't offer anything today, and he was another expensive player, and I don't know what's needed at Liverpool at the moment. I can only think that maybe the only choice is the new manager, but then we don't really want to see a manager get sacked, especially from what he done last season. I
think I've changed my opinion a bit about this, because I was saying on the show that the last week I don't want manager sacked, and I still stick with that. I think, for me personally, I think with situations like this, same with AVP last season, what the board should actually say to them is, you got us in this mess, you get us out. Because I think that's kind of like, you see, like a motivation for them.
Yeah.
So like, let's say if like the hierarchy of Liverpool come down to Brendan Rodgers and go, right, we've given you this money, we had to get rid of our best player, so we're not going to sack you, because the problem is it's going to take you at least 18 months to get that new manager's team in place, because the new manager might not necessarily want that team. So
no,
I think
definitely.
if you say to a manager, like, it's your job now to get us out of this mess, it gives them kind of like a like, I'm definitely going to be here, therefore I'll get more unity from the players, if you see what I mean.
No, definitely. But also, who would come in to replace Brendan Rodgers at the moment. There isn't a big list of world-class managers out there, and also, would a world-class manager go to Liverpool at the moment? Surely a manager of such high calibre would want to manage in the Champions League, of course. And at the moment, the only chance of Liverpool, my personal opinion, the only chance of Liverpool getting into that, into the Champions League is to win the Europa League. And the way they're playing, they don't even look that confident that they're going to go far in that.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, it's a tough question mid-season, isn't it, to think? It's like Liverpool fans are saying Klopp, and it's like, so you're telling me that if you sack Brendan Rodgers next week, Klopp's going to leave Dortmund, who are in the Champions League, and who he has so much of an attachment for Liverpool.
Exactly.
Who, as you're saying, who's most likely, you would say, at this minute, best chance of Champions League, is winning the Europa League.
Yeah.
So it's like, but that's, I mean, I have no idea who could replace him.
It would have been interesting if Moyes would have stayed in England and then gone to Liverpool, wouldn't it?
Oh, that would have been a headline, wouldn't it? David Moyes going to Liverpool. But it's like, say, I mean, could have been the perfect job, if you see what I mean. That kind of like the push back into the Premier League. I mean, I was hearing the other day, one Liverpool fan mentioned Tony Pulis possibly as a new manager. I mean, that's great if they don't want to get relegated.
But I personally wouldn't pick him as my manager.
No, I don't think many people would. But I mean, like I said, do you have any idea who they could possibly get? Because I'm just stumped by it.
Potentially Rafa Benitez, maybe.
That's a good call, actually.
Yeah. I don't like him personally, but obviously, he's a Liverpool. I wouldn't say. Yeah, you could say he's a Liverpool legend, but I'm. It's difficult, isn't it? Like, we look at some of the managers now, and I think a lot of them will go for simple money reasons. But he has affiliation with the club, and I think the fans would welcome him back. So it could happen. Things aren't going peachy for him at Napoli, and after looking at Liverpool today, they certainly need something.
Well, imagine he goes from Napoli and brings Higuain with him. That would be quite a decent. But would
Higuain go to Liverpool? That's the thing.
I think the thing with players, like sometimes with Higuain, I've noticed, like when a manager has such a good affiliation with them, the manager can just say, "Come with me." Do you see what I mean? Like that kind of like, "Oh, I'm going to this new club." David Moyes with Fellaini. Yeah. You see what I mean? That's, even though it's obviously Man United, a massive club, like still David Moyes probably had a thing in that move. If you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind of the like, if you come with me to Man United, I know your game inside out. So therefore, you're going to have an upper hand coming here, and he's going to think, yeah, of course, because this is the guy who brought me into football.
No,
and
definitely.
that's the thing. So maybe like because Higuain needed a new change, so to go to Napoli, and he's done quite well there. So maybe if Rafa Benitez goes and brings Higuain, a great striker, like Liverpool's problems look a bit, they're looking a bit better by then.
No, definitely, I definitely agree. Right, we'll call an end to the show there. If you've enjoyed this, this show will be carried on. Could be potentially 2 shows a weekend or during the week. If you have ideas for the show, please leave them in the comment section. Please share the video. Like if you enjoyed it, and thank you.
Thanks a lot, guys.